What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the top 10 signs you grew up in Britain. I came across this video and I thought it'd be really interesting to learn about some of the things that a lot of you may have experienced growing up in British culture. I have no idea what to expect from this video, so let's just go ahead and dive in and learn about what are some of the signs that you grew up in Britain.
Ready for a trip down memory lane? Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 signs you grew up in Britain. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the top things that people who grew up in Britain can best relate to, and are probably still influenced by. A healthy helping of nostalgia is on its way. Number 10, you want to shout bogies in public.
You want to shout bogies
and it all
in
dates
public.
back to the ever-popular feature on CBBC's Dick and Dom in the Bungalow, where the show's presenters took it in turns to say bogies in a quiet but crowded place at ever-increasing volumes.
Bogies! That was a brave bogey. It's a 4.2.
Throw in the snotometer and some hilarious deadpan commentary, and bogies quickly became a kid's favourite pastime.
Wait, that was the whole point of the show, was literally people go around into public places shouting bogies and they progressively get louder? Okay.
In school playgrounds across the country.
McCourt extends his lead. Who is this man?
If Dick and Dom weren't your cup of tea, there was plenty more Saturday morning chaos to watch, including Going Live and SMTV Live.
Oh, man.
At which point we should really pause to remember the brilliance of Wonky Donkey.
What's that?
Jack Cross.
Yes,
Man, growing up as a kid, like Saturday morning like shows were always the best. I mean, just you never forget those growing up. You really don't.
But bogies is the childhood game that's still on every adult's lips. Number 9, you still go to Clark's for your smart shoes.
Look at those Clark's for your smart shoes.
shoes?
No matter where or when you went to school, odds are your parents drag you to Clark's when it was time to buy shoes for the new term. What better way to spend the last few days of the summer holidays, eh? There was always that thrill of getting your feet measured by the shop assistant though, and Clark's did try everything to make their shoes appear more interesting than they actually were, including pretending that their products were actually magic.
Yes, you can. Just trust your magic shoes.
And so, to this day, it's a first thought for lots of us whenever we need some new fancy but functional footwear. Even if we don't end up actually buying them from Clark's, that leathery smell of stylish Velcro and all-weather slip-ons will never get old.
Clark's, the only trainers in up to 4 with fittings.
Number 8,
That would probably be Converse for us in America, at least in my age group. Yeah, of course, Nikes were a pretty big thing at that point as well. The Jordans and things like that. That was more probably what I remember from my childhood when it comes to shoes.
Horrible Histories taught you everything you know.
Some achieve greatness, others have greatness thrust upon them.
The makers of this much-loved CBBC sketch
Well,
show
that's
achieved something truly
2009, so it's not too
remarkable.
old.
They managed to make learning about history enjoyable. But of course, Horrible Histories started off as a series of books, charting the history of, well, pretty much everything, with snarky humour, alliterative titles, and a seemingly inexhaustible supply of gags about bodily functions. The transition to TV retained the fun and the gruesomeness, and it added some seriously catchy tunes.
All say I'm the king who brought back partying.
But best of all, the entire franchise even managed to get its facts right, making it a better bet for learning history than any Hollywood movie, that's for sure.
Oh man, that would have been a fun way to learn history. I think I would have liked that show growing up if we had had that here.
Number 7, you can't move house without quoting the Chuckle Brothers. Barry and Paul Chuckle rose to comedy greatness in the 80s and 90s with their unique slapstick humour and classic collection of quotable catchphrases. And their most famous saying, "to me, to you," is now brilliantly embedded in the British public consciousness.
Steady, steady, steady. Okay, put it down, put it down.
Oh, lasted 22 years. Wow.
Because who hasn't tried to shift a sofa, position a table, or even hang a photo frame without at least once referencing the Chuckle Brothers? The glorious gimmick even inspired the rapper Tinchy Stryder to write a charity single, Other TV catchphrases that people born in Britain invariably hear themselves saying include "but we don't want to give you that," a la Millionaire, and Blue Peter's "here's one I made earlier," from the days when owning a Blue Peter badge was every kid's dream.
Blue Peter, I've heard of that.
Number 6.
Seen that. Well, I haven't seen the show, but what was his name? What's his name? Noakes? I can't remember his first name now, but I watched a video with him, and he was part of Blue Peter. I need to watch some of that show and just kind of understand what it is, because it was such a big part of British television for a very long time.
You still miss Woolies.
Woolies.
Go to Woolworths and get some from their new worth it value range.
Oh,
The British High Street has changed a lot in recent times, but of all the shops we've loved and lost, surely Woolworths is the most missed.
Wait, Woolworths is gone? I know that name, and I knew it to be like, I thought it was a clothing store, but it looks like it was more than a clothing store. I thought it was just like a very popular clothing store. But it seems like it, based off what I just saw, it looks like it may have been kind of like a Walmart or something. I don't know.
That place sold everything. From the latest magazines to stacks of CD singles and children's clothing that championed all kinds of
Like Walmart or Costco or something.
Whatever you needed, as the old slogan went, Woolies would have it.
There's always a saying that you could get into Woolies and you could get a needle or an anchor.
But the main attraction for kids and a fair few adults was undoubtedly the Pick and Mix, which sold an apparently endless supply of E-numbers in the form of cola bottles, cherry lips and flying saucers. In fact, these sweets were so popular, the final ever bag of Woolies Pick and Mix reportedly sold for a staggering 14.5 grand. Still a bargain though.
History will record that after 99 years of trading, it was the recession of 2008 which brought Woolies to its knees.
Number 5.
Wow, 99 years, and then the 2008 recession closed the stores. That's crazy. You would have thought with a brand that huge, I mean, so huge that I somehow know the name of it, and obviously it was a very popular store for 99 years. It's insane that they weren't able to survive that recession. Doesn't even make sense, because if they sold everything, I picture them being kind of like Walmart, and I think Walmart probably actually grew in that period of time because they were trying to sell things as cheap as possible. Maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe it wasn't. Was it a cheap store? Was that part of their selling point? Is they offered things much lower than a lot of other stores?
5. Half-finished football sticker books.
To mainly find footballers you've never heard of.
I don't know who these people are.
Need. Ooh, shiny. While sticker companies like Panini and Merlin claim that all football stickers were printed in equal numbers, yeah right, anyone who's ever tried to actually complete one of these things would suspect otherwise. Despite blowing all your pocket money on sticker packs and desperately swapping your doubles with your mates, it just never quite happened. If football wasn't your thing, your social status was probably dictated instead by how many Pogs or Pokemon cards you owned. Or whatever your collecting craze was, they're likely now in a loft somewhere, relics of the time you nearly achieved the holy grail of childhood.
We did Pogs and Pokemon. I never did Pokemon. I think that was a little bit after my time, by a little bit. I do obviously remember it, but it really... Maybe it wasn't after my time. I just wasn't into it. I don't know. But I do definitely remember Pogs. I participated in that and a little bit as a child. But these sticker things kind of remind me of I used to have a massive baseball and basketball card collection. I actually just gave all those cards to my nephew a number of years back. Man, there's no telling how much they're worth now. I mean, probably a lot. And I don't have access to them anymore, but hopefully he's kept them up. But yeah, so is this kind of like the same thing? Some of these stickers would have been worth a lot more than other stickers, or is it more of you're just trying to complete a collection itself, and it's not so much that any individual sticker is worth more than another? But obviously, for example, if you had a Babe Ruth baseball card, man, it would be worth a ton of money. Or if you had a Michael Jordan rookie card or something like that, it would be worth a lot more than, most other cards, obviously. But that's interesting. A sticker card collection. We obviously didn't have football or, what we would call soccer cards that I know of. It was mostly baseball and basketball. I'm sure they might have existed. I'm not sure if they existed here or not with the these types of things.
A complete collection, plus shinies.
It's the #1 collectible card collecting phenomenon that's sweeping the nation, although admittedly not very fast.
Number 4, Mr Blobby still terrifies you.
Oh my goodness.
A British childhood served up more than its fair share of scary TV characters.
No.
Whether it was Mr Nosybonk, the Demon Headmaster, or Wolf from Gladiators. And if you're one of the generation that watched Trapped, you spent many a moment worrying if the unsuccessful contestant really did end up getting locked in a tower for eternity.
Like all those before them, they'll be imprisoned at the top of the tower.
But perhaps the creepiest character and general premise of them all came via Noel's house party.
Oh no, that was what I actually saw in the thumbnail, and I think it kind of grabbed my attention, so I could actually see what the video was about. Oh my goodness, I would be horrified if I was a small kid and I saw this thing. No, he said this thing. What did he say? Gave people nightmares or was horrifying. He's right. I can imagine. This thing is creepy looking. Oh my goodness. What in the...
Mr Blobby, with his googly eyes, frozen smile and distorted screechy voice, became the most unconventional of pop culture icons. And he was also truly the stuff of nightmares. Just ask Jack Whitehall.
He's actually at the door right now.
Oh my god. Oh
my gosh. Was that...
Number 3, PVA glue.
All right. Yeah, that's no, not as a kid. Even now, that thing just looks creepy, man. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, that was a little bit weird, but anyway, let's continue.
Glue still offers endless possibilities. Was there ever anything more excitingly versatile than a bottle of this stuff? And when you see the letters PVA, does your imagination not still go wild? Harking back to another iconic kids show, Art Attack, which also saw Neil Buchanan make giant collages in random fields, PVA glue featured so often in the series, you'd be forgiven for thinking half the world was held together by it.
You take some PVA glue and just identify all those edges that you want to join together.
Of course, our own artistic efforts were rarely quite as good as Neil's, but perhaps that's because we spend so much time accidentally getting glue on our fingers so that we could peel it off again.
PVA
and
glue.
Zobu still keeps a stash of this in the toolbox, because you just never know when you'll need to paper mache a balloon or something.
PVA glue. We had, growing up, I had what it was called Elmer's glue, and it's like, basically you could technically eat it. Kids did eat it, but it wasn't really that harmful. But it wasn't extremely sticky either. It was just, it was sticky. It was glue, but that was what I remember glue wise from school and things like that when I was growing up.
Number 2, you have original Harry Potter merch.
But Hagrid, how am I to pay for all this? I haven't any money.
It's hard to believe that there was ever a time when Harry Potter wasn't one of the biggest franchises in history. Nowadays, Potter merchandise includes everything from egg cups to lip balms, all neatly emblazoned with a super stylized brand that'll keep the wizarding world running for years to come. But a few of us were lucky enough to board the Hogwarts Express before the rest of the world jumped on.
Second-year students can create a perfect potion with the Polyjuice Potion Maker.
First editions of Book 1 are now worth tens of thousands of pounds. But even original figurines, trinkets and board games, the sorts sporting old school illustrations and lots of purple, could earn you a tidy little deposit for your personal Gringotts account. But are Potterheads ever likely to sell?
You must be joking.
Number 1.
Fun fact, I have never seen a Harry Potter movie. I've never read a Harry Potter book. I don't know hardly anything about it. I think they're some kind of, is Harry Potter a warlock or so? I don't know, but just wasn't ever interested in that type. That wasn't really my type of stuff. I wasn't really a small kid when that came out. So I guess I was kind of past that stage where I probably would have been really interested in that type of stuff. Honestly, I've just never been into the full on, like, over the top fantasy stuff. Just never really been my thing. I don't know. I think my wife has read some of those books or seen some of them. She's definitely more into the fiction than I am. I enjoy reading nonfiction more than I do fiction books and stuff. So, and it's always been like that. Growing up, I always loved reading nonfiction, like learning facts and things like that. But I never could get into fiction books. The only fiction series I think I really ever truly enjoyed was a series called Little House on the Prairie, which growing up, that was it's a much older series. It's fiction, but it's a true story at the same time. It's fiction, but it's based off a true story, I guess. And that was about a family in the Wild West that, you know, moved in and built a cabin and did all this other stuff. But I really enjoyed that series. But beyond that, I've always just been into like nonfiction books and stuff. I got a huge library of nonfiction books, but my wife has quite a bit of fiction. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. You yearn for proper packed lunches.
You yearn for proper packed lunches. These days, most schools insist that packed lunches contain only healthy treats, but that wasn't always the case. Roll back the years a few, and the closest we came to our 5 a day was a carton of Umbongo. Froobs, Push Pops and Billy Bear ham were what the kids of Britain grew up on. And as everyone knows, cheese tastes so much better when it's shaped into string, right? When we weren't eating snacks for lunch, we were probably down at the tuck shop buying Monster Munch and penny sweets that really did cost a penny.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Or carefully carrying our Cadbury's mini rolls in those specially designed storage cases.
Well, we gotta stop him, we gotta stop him! Give in to your inner child.
Mine.
Now, as a grown-up, whatever you make yourself for lunch, it'll never live up to a dip dab and a Capri Sun. It's a simple fact of adult life.
You know, that's so true, though. I mean, it was same with me growing up, like my lunches and things like that. I had like so many things like fruit roll-ups and gushers. I don't know if you know what those things are if you're in the UK, but just all these like candies and Little Debbie snack cake type stuff. I don't even remember all of this different stuff, but like it's interesting now to think about it. It's like my wife and I would not like feed our daughter all the stuff that we probably got fed growing up. It's like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I feel like my parents, both of our parents, actually, my wife and we've talked about this, and they did not seem to care much about what we ate. And we look at our daughter and we obviously she gets sweets and candy and things like that, you know, some, but it's limited. You know, we try to limit that stuff to a certain extent because, you know, it's not good for her. And it's like, I wonder sometime if I had healthier lunches growing up, would I have been more energetic? Would I have been more, you know, readily being able to pay attention when I was learning something and just things like that? I don't know. But that's interesting that he brought that up. Yeah, guys, I thought this was a good list. Learned a few things. It just goes to show that, you know, in a lot of ways, while we had different TV shows, we had different snacks, we had different you know, sort of things like the stickers versus the you had the football stickers. I had the baseball, basketball cards. It's interesting that while we had a lot different, it was also similar in a lot of ways. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. The way we grew up. It's very interesting how all kids in the West generally had a lot of similar stuff, even though it was different. I guess that's the way to put it. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me in my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.